I'm Debbi Dachinger. Welcome to Dare to Dream. Be inspired to live big and bold and take action to turn your dreams into your reality. Go beyond obstacles and limits of your thinking. Accelerate results to catapult yourself to success. I'm a visibility expert who gives media makeovers to clients, booking them on media interviews and turning their books into international bestsellers with guaranteed results. Join me at DebbiDachinger.com. Dare to do great things. Dare to shine. It's all about you becoming a visionary and leading the pack. Welcome to your daring new life. Hello, this is Debbi, and they say that the best laid plans, right? And what was that John Lennon said about life happening? You make plans and life happens. So what an amazing morning. I just want to start with telling you that I just came back from a photo shoot. It was super divine. I was invited to do a photo shoot, hair, makeup, the whole thing, and 2 photographers there. Really was an awesome experience. And, of course, everybody knew I've got a timeline. I had to get back for the show because this is my favorite place to be, is with all y'all. And wouldn't you know, this is Los Angeles, damn it. And Waze, I don't know what Waze is on these days, but she took me on a freeway that was totally gridlocked with helicopters overhead and cars moving nowhere. And something was going down. So I sat there and I thought, well, it is truly my intention to be with my people today on Dare to Dream and be with my awesome guest. And I called the photographer and I said, hey, do you mind saying a prayer for me? Because this was not in my cards. And I know sometimes you have to let go, but I really would like to do my show today. And this is not looking too good. We're sitting here. She said, great, take a breath, hold an intention, and just hold the intention that you will get where you need to get in the right time, and that everything will unfold, pull away from the fear and resistance, just allow a big, wide path for something else to take over. So unbelievable, because as she's saying this and I'm taking the breath and I can close my eyes because my car's going nowhere, literally the cars start to move. And nonetheless, I'm driving all the side streets to get where I'm going, but I got here just barely in the nick of time. But yep, life has a way of having its own plans, even when we have ours. So just so you know, you mean that much to me, and this also really serves me. It really fills me. This is one of my favorite places to be. So welcome to Dare to Dream. I really dared to dream with you, to be with you today. And also, what a beautiful way to start my day, feeling like a bit of a star in front of the camera. Loved it. Well, folks, Debbi Dachinger here. I'm a media visibility expert, and I work with spiritual professionals who want to put together the puzzle of writing a page-turner book, taking the book to guaranteed international bestseller status, and get scheduled on media interviews. I help my clients turn visibility into paid customers and for them to become the go-to authority in their field. I'm a certified coach, and I get results. Also, because I'm talking about books, I am accepting author applications right now for a new anthology book called I Am Still Here, Trials Turned into Transformation. You can apply at debbid.net/anthology. It's debbid.net/anthology. First-time seasoned authors can apply. Just, people are coming in and joining in. So you'll want this. When you see the bonuses, you'll definitely want this. I know what kind of sweet deal it is because this is what I do out in the world. So the compilation book is going to receive global distribution. I am going to personally launch it to guaranteed international bestseller. And there's so much more, global press release, interviews, all sorts of stuff. So be a published author this year. Go to debbid.net/anthology. And remember, Debbi does not have an E at the end. It's debbid.net/anthology. Woohoo! Well, a little bit later, I have somebody I'm excited to talk to who's going to be coming on, Anthony-Treas, who was deployed in Iraq and provided personal security for U.S. generals and government officials. And Anthony's here today to share his expertise because he's a strong man coach. And Anthony asks, are you ready to become a man who is living his life to the fullest? I love that. I love that, actually. I'm looking forward to that conversation. And I'm going to harken back to actually a beautiful place that we can all be in right now, which is, of course, the reminder about bringing light into the world. We really are personally responsible. So I believe that everything's an illusion anyway, so when I bring light, of course, the outcome is light, and it's magnified and mirrored back to me. When we surrender, when we let go and choose peace inside, which is kind of what I was doing on the freeway this morning, it teaches us that as life becomes lighter, we open a channel for the light to enter us. So, again, we surrender, we let go, we choose peace. Life becomes lighter, and we become a channel for light to enter us, which is a good thing. And that's the light of awareness, the light of freedom, the light of truth, the light of love. And the greatest influence that you can possibly have is to radiate your own being from the level of the true self. It's not out of duty that we let our light shine, but because it's our joy to bring light into the world. I offer you this thought to contemplate, think, bring up today, and that is, I offer my light to everyone. Mother Teresa said, let your presence light new light in the heart of others. Well, when we come back, Anthony-Treas is here, and he's going to be talking about health, wealth, your purpose, and men. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
How do you comfort a grieving child? It's not easy, but the book, My Mommy is a Butterfly, facilitates the process by introducing your child to the concept of signs from the afterlife. These signs will prove to your child that their loved one is still around them and still loves them. The heartwarming story encourages your child to focus on the power of love and how it transcends death. My Mommy is a Butterfly will uplift your child with hope and resiliency. Your child will become empowered to learn that death is not only an ending, but also the beginning of a relationship where love never dies. Written by Michelle Bieber, My Mommy is a Butterfly is available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Whether you're a wine novice, a wine lover, or a wine specialist, you will love directsellers.com/Deb's Wine Wonders because it's sourced from boutique artisan vineyards from around the world. Give the wines as gifts for colleagues to bring to social situations or just enjoy it with family and friends. The box of wines I've been receiving from directsellers.com/Deb's Wine Wonders are superb, to be frank. They take care in the wine they choose. Their in-house wine experts ensure that the members get only the best. They've been tasting and selecting wine for over 15 years. The goal with this club is to send you wine that you love. Each month, our experts select great premium wines from wineries around the globe. Your satisfaction is guaranteed at directsellers.com/Deb's Wine Wonders. That's direct, CELLARS.com/Deb's Wine Wonders.
Tell the world about your product or business. Advertise on Dare to Dream Radio. The award-winning program is syndicated on over 60 stations, has a big following, and large listenership. If you're ready to expand your reach, become a sponsor or advertiser on Dare to Dream Radio. Best rates, great results. Email at ads@DebbiDachinger.com. That's ads@DebbiDachinger.com.
What if the world doesn't function the way we've been told? What if we truly can bend the laws of physical reality? What if we can end limitation? What if weird were the coolest thing you could be? And what if it's time for a totally different reality? Are you ready to create it? Are you ready to dream as big as you dare? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything in my life changed for me. This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Gandhi, Galileo, and Aristotle all knew to be true. It's not about the answer. It's about being the question. Always. It's about truly being you, whatever that looks like, and changing this world. Is now the time? Start by signing up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. That's beingyouclass.com. What if you are the gift and the change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
Welcome back to Dare to Dream. This is Debbi Dachinger, and as promised, Anthony-Treas is here. He's an Iraq war veteran, and he's on a mission to radically change men's health. His mission in Iraq was to provide personal security for U.S. generals and government officials, and now his mission is to empower men to thrive and reclaim their greatness. For more about Anthony, you can go to strongmencoaching.com. Anthony, welcome to Dare to Dream. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie, for having me. I'm very excited to be here with you today, and full of energy and ready to have a great and wonderful conversation with you.
Me as well, because you have a really rich history. So I want to talk about your deployment to Iraq, because actually the very first time I ever heard you speak, when you brought up that sentence about being in Iraq and then followed by you were the protection device, you were personal security for generals, government officials, and like, there's a story there. So what was that like? Who did you actually protect, and what did that protection look like?
Yeah, so I was with the Oregon Army National Guard, and we were called up for deployment to Baghdad, Iraq, to provide personal security for, as you mentioned, generals, government officials, and our unit even conducted a private security mission for the former Vice President Joe Biden, and which was a lot of details. So that was our mission. That was our job there. The unit provided personal security for anyone who was anyone at that time. The decision makers, General Petraeus, even though he had his own security team, we also added to that team when needed. We provided security for Secretary General Casey, and all entertainers, other people who came in the vicinity of Baghdad, Iraq. And so it was a very high-intense mission. It was a zero-air mission. As you can imagine, the enemy would have wanted nothing more than to eliminate or capture any of our generals and the decision-makers for Iraq. And so it was very high intensity, and it was a mission that would entail, everything, obviously being a secret, and we couldn't really give out any information. And it just really was a mission that was obviously much needed, considering this time of during the war, and the decision makers to see what was going to happen as far as the demobilization of our troops there in Iraq. And so it was high intense, as I mentioned, and it was, we flew in helicopters, we drove in up-armored Humvees, and it was go for a majority of the time there.
And you were there for how long?
My complete deployment was 13 months.
Got it. So 13 months, and that's a lot of attention. I mean, you're taking care of some pretty special people, so I'm sure you want your record to be clean. And then you come home, right? I mean, that's kind of like a lot of pressure. Like, definitely don't screw up here.
Yeah.
So you come home, 13 months in Iraq, and you're back to the United States, back to your life. Tell me about the transition.
Yeah, the transition is, for many veterans, it can be very difficult. As I mentioned, I was in the reserves, and so I went back to being a civilian. And being in Iraq and having such an important mission and such an important role, I was a sergeant, I was a team leader, and I had 3 other soldiers who were under me. And so coming back home, the transition, not only mentally, but physically, and then also trying to kind of figure out what the next step or what the next mission was going to be. And that's where myself, and I know from a lot of veterans, that step is very difficult, because you come from this mission, this purpose, and it feels good, and you're even though you, of course, being in war and being over there, you want to be back home. but you have an important mission, you have an important purpose, and so when you come back home, that's very difficult because there's really not much that can really match that in a sense. Or at least you don't feel it immediately, and so that's the trouble. Like for myself, eventually, I began to struggle with PTSD and anxiety and depression, and I began to suffer from these things. And I was recently talking to another veteran, and it's very difficult for veterans to talk about these issues with the civilian because it's very difficult for them to even imagine on a day-to-day basis where you could be blown up, you could get injured, you could be, just so many daily basis. And when you come back home and you begin to suffer from these things, PTSD and anxiety and depression, and just redefining your role and your mission, it's very difficult. And so for me, I struggled for several years, and I wouldn't even say I'm 100% to this day. But I had to find a new mission, and it did take me several years. But for 3 years after my return home, I pretty much isolated myself, and I struggled with going out in public and being with a lot of people, or being in a certain area where I'd always have to know where the exit sign was at. Wow. I'd have to know what my exit strategy was at, and just different areas where even if I would drive underneath an overpass, my heart would just start to race, and it'd just take me back to those times where we would drive under underpasses, and we'd have to be concerned about enemy, lobbing either things into, or trying to lob things into our vehicles, or just explosives going underneath, going off underneath the bridges, and so we would do certain maneuvers. So coming back home and driving under underpasses, my body would just react to that without even me thinking about it, and I would see black garbage bags on the side of the road, and you think IED, and so this takes some time to decompress, and so it's very difficult for veterans. And as I mentioned, myself, I struggled that for a few years there intensely, and then began to. One of the things that I was really encouraged to do was to begin to find a new mission, create some new goals, a new direction, a new purpose. And sure enough, I'd always wanted to finish my college degree. And so the story, my story goes that I ended up taking a health and wellness class, and it really...
Yeah, you went to Oregon State University, right? Oregon State, then you get a master's in public health, then you pass the exam to be a certified health education specialist, then you complete the wellness core, and health and wellness coaching program. So when you say you decided on a new mission, you decided a new dream, like you weren't kidding. You really had a big dream, and you complete all this amazing education. Really kudos to you, all this knowledge under your belt. And I kind of am curious about how you set up shop for your business, but also because, as you just mentioned, you did a lot to help yourself get through that anxiety, the PTSD, bleeding through almost of a life in another country to this country, superimposing on how you're living here. How do you go out into the world in a really big way and say, look at me, come on in, let me train you, and let me set up shop and be an entrepreneur? How was that for you?
Yeah, it is very difficult because, one thing, as I mentioned before, I certainly wouldn't claim to be 100%, as far as, the anxiety and these sorts of things. But I've been able to really overcome a lot of different hurdles. And yeah, I was able to eventually, actually for the first 2 years, I actually just did online classes. I didn't want to go to I eventually did go to Oregon State University, but I didn't want to be in a classroom with a lot of people and really had to converse with a lot of people. I couldn't do that at that time. So for 2 years, I only did online classes, and then eventually I did transfer over to Oregon State. And then for me, one of the things I talk about in my program is optimizing your environment. But I didn't know this obviously at that time, but for me, when I went there, I was able to flourish because the environment allowed me to. And it was just, for me, one, it was a dream of mine, and I was getting taken care of through the VA. I was progressing, and the environment allowed me to focus on my education, and it allowed me to be in an area that allowed me to, or I was in an area that allowed me to flourish. And I think that was that's really important for people who are trying to, create or develop their goal or to achieve their goals and to change their life, is to look at their environment and how is it either supporting you or helping you. And oftentimes we don't think about that.
And what do you mean by environment specifically?
Yeah, so let's say, for example, I've had a recent client who was basically addicted to sugar. And he didn't realize how much I had him keep a journal of how much sugar he was drinking. And he, and that was kind of an enlightening experience for him, because he come to realize how much soda he was drinking. But what happened is, one question I asked is, well, who brings in the soda? Who buys it, right? Who brings it into the house? And of course it's him. So he's creating an environment that's not supportive to his goal, to his, of course it's an addiction. Sugar's an addiction. And so what ends up happening with something like that is kind of, you can't just cut cold turkey, it's got to be a process, and that's kind of the beginning of the process, is realizing what is supporting you and what's not. So that's kind of a certain, a simple example right there, is really kind of looking at how the environment is either helping you or hindering you for you. And so for me, when I went to Oregon State, it was like the perfect place. It was I met other veterans there, and it was great. So then I did continue on. I had no plans whatsoever to go for a master's degree. It scared the heck out of me just because of the requirements. But then again, the cohort that I ended up becoming a part of, it was just incredible. And so for me, what ended up happening was this transition was that right after I completed graduate school, I went on to work for a health organization as a health educator. And this organization had been around for 40 years. Well, they had 2 women's health programs, but nothing for men.
That's
now, don't get me
interesting.
wrong, both my degrees are health related, public health, and so I'm very aware, and I'm sure people are aware of how important it is for a woman's body to be healthy and ready for having a child, and for so many other things.
Just living and being healthy is important for us, for sure.
Yeah.
And we're often very overlooked in medicine and health and wellness and all of that.
Yes, absolutely. So when I was at this organization, I'm like, yeah, that's great, but and my job was to help improve the health and wellness of Alaskan natives. I worked in Alaska, and the Alaskan men also have their struggles. They have a huge suicide rate, alcoholism, and so for me, I was thinking, wait a second, what's kind of going on here? So I ended up conducting a men's health workshop. It was this time last year that I was there, and I conducted a men's health workshop, and I shared really about your environment and how your health and how some of these chronic diseases that men are often diagnosed with, that they're not life sentences. For example, diabetes. There's this belief that once all family, my family member has it, I'm going to eventually get it, and that's not the case. And so letting them know that, no, you don't have to, and it's behavior and lifestyle choices that end up happening. And long story short, the men who reserved to go showed up, and the feedback I received from them was just overwhelming and good things, and loved the information. And so a light bulb moment went off for me where I was struggling for 2 years, and I know there are other people out there, not just veterans, who are struggling with anxiety and depression and PTSD. And so I was struggling for several years, and then I went through my education. And even through my education, there was very little, if anything, about men's health and mental health. And so then going into the public health field as a health educator, the light kind of went off for me. It's like, you know what, I want to help serve men and educate and help empower men for them to no longer to suffer from these chronic diseases that are very prevalent among men.
Yeah, very important. And the light's going off for me, too. We are going to take a break, but when we come back, I'd like to hear from Anthony more about men, some of the things they find frustrating or not fulfilling in their lives, and maybe some foundational skills. We will learn more when we come back. You're listening to Dare to Dream Radio. Join me after the show on Facebook at Dare to Dream Radio and TV. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Tell the world about your product or business. Advertise on Dare to Dream Radio. The award-winning program is syndicated on over 60 stations, has a big following, and large listenership. If you're ready to expand your reach, become a sponsor or advertiser on Dare to Dream Radio. Best rates, great results. Email ads@DebbiDachinger.com. That's ads@DebbiDachinger.com.
MyBestsellerBook.com helps you self-publish and you keep all the royalties. Even if your book is already published, MyBestsellerBook.com will help you become a best-selling author. Your book will be promoted to a large global following. Enjoy a press release and book reviews. Make your next book launch bigger and better. MyBestsellerBook.com has long-term client credibility and 100% success in turning books into bestsellers. MyBestsellerBook.com.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that, when run, assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
Debbi Dachinger's Radio Interview Mastery Program is a unique branded system that works. MediaMasteryRadio.com puts you on a fast track to grow your business and easily book interviews. Learn how at MediaMasteryRadio.com. Debbi is fiercely committed to guiding entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, healers, and business people. Learn how to leverage your radio appearances to grow your business and increase your visibility at MediaMasteryRadio.com.
Research shows we apologize up to 10 times a day, and most of the time, we say sorry as a response to someone else's mistake. What if we thanked people instead of all that unnecessary apologizing? So instead of saying, sorry, I'm rambling, you say, thank you for listening. Join us at ProjectForgive.com, a free, non-religious resource on global forgiveness.
What is LinkedIn and why should you be on it? Wondering what in the world people use LinkedIn for? You will be surprised how much is available on this popular business social network. Go to www.yourconnectionconsultant.com. Did you know that 64% of all social media traffic to websites is driven by LinkedIn? Rhonda Scher, known as the LinkedIn Diva, will explain how to double your business using LinkedIn. Don't be left out. Learn how to leverage LinkedIn today. Rhonda Scher, the LinkedIn expert, is your connection consultant at www.yourconnectionconsultant.com.
Are you suffering from headaches, backaches, joint or muscle pain that's hurting your work performance? Todd Nelson is a naturopath who for 36 years has helped employees, executives, and entrepreneurs alleviate the chronic pain that kills their work performance, naturally, without depending on dangerous medications. In Todd's new report, No Pain Equals More Gain, he shares 6 major steps you can take today to start reducing pain and increasing performance. You can get this free report right now by going to nopainmoregain.net. That's nopainmoregain.net. Stop letting pain get in the way of your peak performance at work. Learn how to start working and living pain-free naturally right now at nopainmoregain.net.
If you're tuning in after we've started, this is Debbi Dachinger on Dare to Dream Radio. I'm interviewing Anthony-Treas. You can find him at strongmencoaching.com. I want to ask you about patterns, Anthony, because here you are now I would think an expert in men, and you work with men, they're your clients. Are there patterns that you see in men in general, but also specifically in your clients, and they do them over and over, and you wish you could jump in the middle and say, yo, if you would just listen to me and stop doing that, you'd stop sabotaging and screwing up your life or your profession. What would those patterns be that you wish you could change that most men do so that they're thriving, happy, and successful instead?
You know, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One of them is men generally have an idea of what it is they want, but the issue is it's a general idea. And when someone is deciding exactly what it is they want, you want to be as specific as possible. Oftentimes, people, let's say, for example, they want to lose weight. Well, not to be gross or anything, but every time we go to the bathroom, we lose weight, right? So you want to be as specific as possible on whatever it is the goal that you want. And what ends up happening with that is you begin to make that, you can measure that. You know, you can see if you're making progress or not. And that leads into my next point is in knowing they have a general idea of what it is that they want. They generally do not have, or they don't know where to start. And so that can be a very difficult time period where they don't know what they need to do in order to accomplish that goal. And oftentimes, the men that find me, you know, are really wanting to improve their health and mental well-being. They're wanting to eliminate anxiety, want to kind of really bring a little more fulfillment in their life, but that fulfillment are moving towards those goals. And so it's really pinpointing exactly what it is they want. And then, like I mentioned before, is they often struggle with knowing what to do next. But in reality, there is a first step, and they generally kind of have an idea, but it's a sense of fear that they have of failure. So I guess this is kind of like a third part, right, or a third thing, is the fear of failure. And if there's one thing that I would want to change, is this idea that failure is bad.
Right.
What ends up happening is we in general we want success right away. We want to lose the weight. We want to have a successful business. We want to have a successful career and all these different things. But it takes time. And in that time period, there's a lot of growth that ends up happening, and you end up achieving, or someone could end up achieving something that does take time, of course, but there's a lot of growth in that, and it's just honoring that time period that often entails failures, but also to re-examine the whole idea of failure and why. You know, as men, we want to be successful. We don't want to fail. We don't want to lose. We want to be winners. We want to have this success. And oftentimes, that is what prohibits men from moving forward initially or giving up very easily.
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting. So figuring out what they want, the specifics of that, what to do next to get there, and fear of failure. And I would think with everything you just said, part of fear of failure is, yes, I agree with you that failure is the greatest educational tool, and everybody who's done great things on this planet has failed multiple times. I think the idea, it's very easy for people out there to say, oh, it's not about failure, you just course correct. But it's about what is that course correction, right? That you can ingest what just happened and understand, okay, if there is a to-do next, what does that look like so the outcome is different? And that takes a lot of confidence, doesn't it?
It does.
I think
take a lot of confidence, and it does.
Go ahead.
Yes, what was that?
Yeah, no, I'm listening. So I was just asking the question that when you have failure and then it's precipitated by a fear of failure, so let's say it actually happens, and the idea is to understand, okay, what just happened? Why did it fail? Rather than get into the emotion or stuckness of that, what would be next? Like if I don't want to produce that result, what can I do to get there? But I think that's really key about understanding how to get oneself out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the most important things for a man to do is, and I know this word wouldn't come across as like a strong word for most men, but to have compassion on yourself. I remember one time hearing this for the first time about having compassion on myself. It's like, look, Anthony, you're not always going to be successful, and you're gonna have your bad days, you're gonna have your good days, and to accept that, and to be okay with the process, to be okay with the growth, to be okay not knowing what the next step is, but taking a step, learning from it, and moving forward. And that's one of the things that coaching really helps with men, is that there's that accountability factor, right? So in any coaching, there, at least for what I do, is to bring up men to where there's that self-efficacy, right, where they have this internal motivation to get them to continue to move forward. And that's one of the parts of my coaching is like, what is why do you want this? You know, after you decide what it is you want, why do you want it? And oftentimes when I'm working with men who want to improve their health is, well, I want to be around for my children. Right. I want to be around to enjoy life after retirement. I don't want to have to make all this money and then retire and then take all my money that I've earned, to then take care of it, to take care of myself because
not being able to enjoy it.
Health. Yeah, and so one of the things that I say is, what is wealth without the health to enjoy it?
Mm-hmm. And vice versa.
Right? And so, right? And so it's just this whole idea of having compassion and understanding in the process, and that every successful man has gone through this time period, even for myself, where I've had these doubts and I've struggled and I failed, but I've kept going, and I knew that when I was struggling at my deepest, darkest moments, there was this small little fire within me that knew that I did not want to stay that way. I didn't want to isolate myself. I wanted to be out with friends and family and enjoying life. But I knew I didn't want to stay there. I knew there was a purpose in my life, and it was a matter of just that's where I ended up, getting my education, which was a huge goal of mine, and now my mission is to help men to radically change their views on their health, and to which then also entails mental health, and which is a huge thing for many men dealing with anxiety and depression. But yeah, it's having that compassion and understanding and allowing that growth to happen, and to learn from that, take a step back. And oftentimes that takes that's where the power of a coach comes from, where they see it differently. There's somebody there to say, look, well, that didn't happen, but what did happen?
Yeah.
Like, for example, my client who's struggling with sugar. Okay, yeah, your goal was to only drink 5 cans of soda this week, and you drink, you normally would drink 10, right? Give yourself credit for only drinking, 6. You didn't.
We're getting there. We're tapering you off. Yeah. Just trust me. This is
right?
amazing.
And so give yourself that credit for what you did do. You would share with me, I was offered this drink, and I said no. And the thing that was the light bulb moment for him was he's like, and he told me this, was that, wait a second, next week I'm going to have to tell Anthony how many soda cans I drink, and he's like, no. And so there's that accountability factor that it's so powerful. It's so powerful.
Very powerful. I can attest to it, Anthony. In my life, I've used it to create big dreams that I know I wanted to live out, but I really didn't know how I was going to get there because it felt just overwhelming, like impossible. And I would use somebody for accountability, and just knowing I was going to connect. I would connect. I do show up. I do commit. And I'm going to say I did this, or didn't do this, and I always want to say I did do this. So accountability was huge for me. And we are going to take a break. So be accountable to us. stay with us because we have so much more good conversation coming up with Anthony, more about what causes men to suffer from anxiety, how can we support veterans when they come back, and more. You can find me all over the place. I'm on iTunes, Spreaker, YouTube, and more. Leave a review. Leave a 5-star review. It counts. It brings more listeners to the show. When we come back, we're going to be having our final segment with Anthony-Treas. Stay right there. I'll be right back.
Do you love wine? Do you enjoy drinking it or sharing it? Well, maybe you know a lot about wine, maybe you don't. Thanks for entrusting me with picking and choosing the most amazing wines from all over the world and delivering them to your home or business. You will receive as few or as many bottles of wine as you like, with tasting notes in your magical box of wine detailing the regions, the history, and even food and wine pairing. We will deliver to you the best wine in the world. So get in, get wine, get social at directsellers.com/Deb's Wine Wonders. Sit back and truly enjoy our wines because we take great pride. We have invested a great deal of time selecting the most incredible wines from all over the world we know you'll enjoy and want to share at directsellers.com/Deb's Wine Wonders. That's direct, CELLARS.com/Deb's Wine Wonders. Yum.
Radio sells with immediacy. Radio sells everywhere. Radio is the cost-effective medium. Go to ADS at DebbiDachinger.com. Reach is nice, but frequency is better. You're always on the front page with Dare to Dream Radio. It's an award-winning program syndicated on over 60 radio stations. Advertise and sponsor the Dare to Dream radio show for optimal advertising results. Email ADS at DebbiDachinger.com.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
Welcome back to Dare to Dream, Debbi Dachinger. I want to start with this, Anthony, because I really think this is important when you talk about what it was like for you to come back from Iraq, and when you talk about a civilian couldn't possibly understand what that is like. My heart sort of contracts and expands, and it's like, and I would like to maybe make that different, at least in my space. What can people do who are listening, who care, support? What kind of support can we offer a veteran when they come home?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question, and I'm so grateful that you have thought of it and have asked me this question because it is great to hear people concerned about this because a lot of people do have family members and that come back from not only from a deployment but also from active duty, and it's really one thing that people can do, and I wouldn't go as far as saying like civilians couldn't just imagine. I mean, we all go through a lot of different hardships and tough times, and I think one of the best things is really to just provide a listening ear. I know sometimes there's veterans who do not want to talk but there are many that do. And for me, I was one of the veterans that wanted to share my story, and in a way that was it helped me heal in many ways, because it just felt like someone cared, right? It wasn't more of like, oh yeah, I protected generals and stuff. It was just more of kind of like they cared and wanted to know different, because there's so many different jobs that military personnel perform, and so to kind of give them that opportunity, and really anything you can do to, many of them do have to decide, what's that next purpose in life, what's that next mission, and that is really what each individual veteran must do. But I think one of the best things that people can do is provide, and like I mentioned, every veteran is going to be different, so there's not necessarily one thing that they could do, but I think it's when you are in the presence of a veteran is to give a listening ear and see where they're at and what may be able to be supportive of them. If they're going to school, they're going to college, maybe somehow provide some support and resources that they would need while going to school, or if somebody's starting a business, and how can you help promote that business for that veteran to have more exposure to their business. So whatever, providing that listening ear and kind of just listening to what they have to say, and if for those who are more do not want to share more of like their experience, to still give them, for them to have that space, and then time will hopefully turn around where they are in a supportive environment.
Well, I can do all of the above, so I love that you said something like, right? It's all in my wheelhouse, and it's now I have an awareness, and I really like that. So it's completely not about back off. It's completely more about connection. Just to listen is just about me breathing and being present for someone. So that's easy. Resources, I could totally, if I have connections, help support someone. And even outside of the resources, as you said, for the vet himself or herself to find their next mission or dream, which is really powerful. I found that, too. Coming out of depression or anxiety, that is ultimately the way out, and it changes everything. So speaking of that, missions and dreams, Anthony, this is Dare to Dream. What do you next dare to dream? What are your future dreams and goals?
My future dreams and goals is to continue to support men in radically changing their health and their mental well-being, and my goal really is to continue to grow as a coach and continue to provide inspiring messages for men to hear and for them to thrive. And one of the things that I see is when men, that I believe every man needs a mission. When he's fulfilled, he's able to be the best husband he can be. He could be the best father. He can be the best community member in society when he is fulfilled. And that obviously is up to what fulfillment is for him. But when he is fulfilled, he's able to be present and knowing that he's living his purpose, his mission, and then to give that to the world. And oftentimes it's amazing where people who have this desire to help and serve others, and even in a career, even in their job that they're doing, that they are providing a service and helping other people.
What about you, Anthony? What is a ritual or a practice that you use daily that keeps you grounded?
For me is expressing my sincere gratitude for the amazing things that I have been able to experience and have in my life. 8 years ago, when I came back home from my deployment, I couldn't imagine my life as it is today. I was very fortunate to get my education, very fortunate to be able to travel, and there's not a day that goes by that I do not acknowledge, at least in my mind, that I'm grateful. And you probably don't even know this, but I'm actually in Medellin, Colombia right now. And I'm
no, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, I'm traveling the world right now, still, living out my adventurous spirit and encouraging other men to do that as well. And so, I run my business from all over, and so I am very fortunate. And so my practice is gratitude, and just, I couldn't be more grateful for the support that I've received and the things that I've been able to accomplish. And I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't have done it on my own. I still need support, and I still need help. And I'm not 100%, but it's in and so I'm
one world travel in front of the other, one step after the other. When I listen to you, Anthony, it's very exciting because this anthology book that I'm heading up called I Am Still Here, Trials Turned into Transformation, and I have people coming forward to give applications who want to write a chapter. And my most recent person on board is a vet. And just, oh my God, he just sent a little something, but my heart went like, this is so right. And you were talking about the importance of listening, and I thought, this is another way that he will not be verbalizing, but writing something out about what he went through, what it took for him to get where he is today, and he's so thriving himself. So I love that. For whatever coincidental reason, there's you, there's him, and that this is suddenly in my space, and I honor it. So thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing your brilliance.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
It. Yeah. I'm going to end today's show with this quote from Shonda Rhimes. You can waste your lives drawing lines, or you can live your life crossing them. Next week on Dare to Dream, Jonathan Robinson is coming back to the show. Jonathan's going to be here to talk about love. He's spoken at Google. He's been on Oprah's show. He's a psychotherapist, a best-selling author of 10 books, and a professional speaker. He's reached over 100 million people around the world, and his work has been translated into 47 languages. He's really an amazing guy. I'm looking forward to connecting with him again. Subscribe to this podcast channel. And subscribe to my inspirational YouTube videos at youtube.com/DebOnTheRadio. And remember, a little something that Anthony shared, the secret of success is having the courage to begin in the first place.
To contact the award-winning syndicated Dare to Dream radio show, go to DebbiDachinger.com. Keep your excellent feedback and comments coming. Your host, Debbi Dachinger, is an expert at goal achievement, a media personality, an international best-selling author, and a keynote speaker. Debbi leads high-quality teleseminars on how to achieve goals, how to be a self-published best-selling author, and how to get booked on radio. All classes are at DebbiDachinger.com. Debbi's best-selling books are Dare to Dream, This Life Counts, sold on Amazon, and her second book, Wisdom to Success, The Secrets to Accomplish All Your Dreams, sold online at all bookstores. Tune in again to hear the next inspiring interview guest who has turned their vision into a successful reality. Want more support in making your dreams come true? Go to DebbiDachinger.com. That's www.DebbiDachinger.com. You'll see videos, MP3s, archived interviews, and amazing products sharing the secret steps to making your dreams come true. Remember to dream big with every expectation that your dream will become real. Dreams are free, so free your dreams. What do you dare to dream?
Here I'm standing now, waiting for my time to be all that I can be. It's so easy to forget, life is in my hands, and I can change it if I want. Nothing's impossible